Can you tell me a little bit about the convoy? How many ships would make up a convoy, and what were the different types of ships?
Well, like I say, in this particular one, it was all tankers, and I don't know why they ever sent a pack of tankers is more than I know, you know. But see, they were concerned. They didn't care if they lost a ship or two ships. Their main thought was they had to get high octane gas through one way or another. So if we send 50 ships and we get 40 through, fine. Now, there was what they called a Murmansk run. That was up into Russia, Murmansk, Russia. That was a miserable run, cold, you know. But anyhow, I always dreaded that I would get one of them runs shipping out of New York. That's one of the reasons I chose New Orleans, because I had heard about this Murmansk run. But they used to send a dozen ships up there, and if they got one ship through, they were lucky. It was really
one ship out of a dozen on this Russian route.
You bet. I had to go to Galveston, Texas, and I picked up a brand new T2 tanker. That this was an 18-knot ship, and our convoy, we were in a 15-knot convoy, which is considerably fast, considering comparing it to a Liberty, which was like 7 to 8 knots.
Oh wow!
But it was a turbo electric, had big twin turbine engines, and steam driven boilers, you know. But it was really a nice ship, very well built and to the latest of equipment. I really liked that ship. That was my favorite ship. Okay, we loaded up in Texas, and we 550,000 barrels it held, aviation fluid. Anyhow, we went up to New York, all along the coast. You didn't see any lights, you know. We were blacked out. Everybody was blacked out, you know.
And this was in case German U-boats were along the Atlantic coast.
Right. You're hearing these. I'm on the radio, you know, and I hear these sinkings and that woke me up, boy. I learned to sleep with a life jacket on.
Wow.
So anyhow, we got up to New York, and we were supposed to unload. Well, it turns out that they decided they need us in a convoy. So they put us in a convoy. We went over to Swansea, England.
Okay.
Anyhow, we were, like I say, loaded with aviation fuel, and we left at midnight. 8 o'clock the next morning, I was just getting off a watch. I had the 4 to 8 watch, 4 in the morning till 8, and 4 in the afternoon till 8 in the evening. Anyhow, I just got off a watch, and I walked out on deck. And here I see this ship next to us in the next row, big clouds of steam and smoke. And so I went back in the radio room, and right away we found they were on the radio that they had been torpedoed. Now this is 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
So 8 hours out of New York. That's how close they were.
Wow.
Anyhow, they didn't sink this tanker. This happened to be a tanker convoy, by the way.
Wow.
It didn't go up in flames because they hit it in the engine room. And they lost 2 watches because it happened right at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when the watches change. And so, anyhow, they dropped back, and then later on, they had to sink it. And but in the meantime, when this ship got hit, we had destroyer escorts. I think we had two destroyer escorts, and I think there was one other one. I think we had 3 Navy ships with us. But anyhow, this one of the destroyer escorts, he came down between us and this other ship that was burning, and he continued on down. And for some stupid reason, this submarine captain decided to come up and see what he done. Well, that was a big mistake for him, because this destroyer is going along top speed, cut him right in half. A German submarine.
German submarine gets hit by an Allied destroyer.
Destroyer escort. Those destroyer escorts were built for ramming. Their bow had double strength high metal.
Double hulled, yeah.
Designed purposely for that reason. And it could go about those destroyer escorts could go about 30 knots, which is pretty darn fast.
That's fast for a big ship, yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, we continued on, and then they were a little while later, they were calling around on to the ships, anybody that had prison space, because they picked up these Germans, sailors, They lost a lot of them too, but the survivors they picked up, and they were looking for prison space for them. Well, we didn't happen to have any. But anyhow, so then we continued on. And now, mind you, this is my first experience at sea, and that wasn't too encouraging.